Guys, welcome back to the ranch. It's Stephanie from the Rancher's Homestead. So one of the questions I get asked the most just in day-to-day on Instagram and different places is, how do I do it all? Well, I'm going to tell you my little secret. I don't. They notice how busy I am, how many things I do, but the thing is, I don't do it all of the time. I do a lot of things. My days are jam-packed, but I don't do all the time. Today, I'm going to share with you my top 5 tips on maximizing my time, having a full schedule, but still being able to not feel overwhelmed with all of the tasks that there is to do with a busy homestead, a busy ranch life, homeschooling, and all of the things. So come along with me and I will show you what I do. So tip number 1 that I have for you is to plan ahead. That would probably be I put it number 1 for a reason. It's my number 1 thing because failing to plan is like planning to fail. If you're not a very scheduled person, if you're not a very planner like I am, that comes easy to me. I know that can be very difficult, but I would say that without some form of a plan, your time gets wasted very, very quickly. We all have the same amount of time in a day. It's how we plan that time in that day that's going to make the benefit of what we get done. So one of the things that I do, and I've mentioned this quite a bit to different followers, is I always use a planner. I just buy it from Walmart. I've never been 100%, I don't buy the same one because I've never been 100% loving planners. You know, maybe in my future I'll make my own that I will fall in love with that has all the pieces that I need in a single planner. But for now, I just buy one each year at Walmart, Target, Amazon, wherever, and I fill it in. The biggest thing that I do in my planner is I will write out on Sunday nights. I sit down before bed after we're done with church and everything else, and I will write out all of my meals for the week. I will write out anything that we have going on in terms of appointments or things like that on the day that it is for the week. And then I will plug in projects that I want to get done on the days that I know are not super busy. So if we have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, I'm not going to plug in a bunch of projects on Tuesday because that's just going to set me up to fail. So I might plug it in on a Wednesday or a different day of the week that I know will be home and we have nothing else going. So planning, just a rough, loose plan for your week is a huge time saver. It takes a little bit of time up front on Sunday nights or whenever you choose to do it, but it does make a difference in the way of the flow of your week and getting enough of the things that you need to get done. Tip number 2 is get your kids involved. So one of the things that I do the most is everybody has jobs, down to the littlest one. So they all have jobs that they need to do and they get involved and they help. And that really takes a lot of load off of me. So they all have outside chores in feeding animals. Since we are homesteading, ranching family, we have lots of animals to be fed. Well, if I had to go out and do that, then breakfast would be later and dishes and school and everything would get pushed out. So instead, when they wake up, I start breakfast, start my load of laundry, and I have my schedule that I do, but then they also have theirs. And that really takes a lot of load off of me. Things get done. and everybody feels accomplished, comes back to the table at a reasonable time for breakfast, and then we move on with our day. They have chores throughout all of the day that they need to do. And a lot of things too may not be on a chore list, but I'm not afraid to ask them to get involved and help. I don't take the burden all on myself. I used to, and I was a very unhappy mama. I was constantly irritated and frustrated because I had all these things to do and I felt like I was the only one doing it. And so this has really helped a lot. It does take a little bit of training up front because you are going to have to teach them how to do the things that you want them to do and to do it to your standard. But it pays off in the end when you do that. Now, my 4-year-old, or she just turned 5, my 5-year-old is not out doing big chores like, I don't know, feeding the chickens or the sheep or anything like that, where she has to get in the pen with a larger animal. She feeds the dogs and cats. Really, you can't mess that up. But it's one less thing I have to do. So it just, find the chore that helps, that is age appropriate to them, but that will take something off of your plate for them to be able to do. Don't be afraid to get your kids involved. Whether you homeschool or you don't homeschool, they can still wake up and do a few things in the morning to help get your morning going. And when they get home from school, then it all being on you. So definitely tip number 2 is get your kids involved in your day. Okay, so tip number 3, create a schedule. Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm not a scheduled person. I can't do this. I'm a scheduled person, so my schedule will probably be a little bit more rigid than most people. But when I say create a schedule, I mean a loose schedule. It doesn't have to be rigid. In fact, I encourage you not to make it rigid. Mine might be a little bit too rigid, but I do loosen it quite a bit in the afternoon. My mornings always go the same for the most part. My afternoons, though, are a lot more loose. But what I mean by a schedule is a wake up time. So for us, Monday through Friday, we have a specific time that we all wake up. Even if we don't have to go anywhere, even if we have all day long to get our stuff done, we always wake up at the same time, Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays are looser and we let them sleep in. But this helps us to just stay on track and maximize our time Monday through Friday the most. So our schedule looks something like this. I wake up at 5:30. I get my first 2 hours without children, about an hour and a half, trying to get my part done. So I get my alone time, I get my Bible time, I drink my coffee in peace, I start my day and make sure I know what I'm doing throughout my day, what projects I had plugged in, because I plugged them in on Sunday. So Thursday, I might forget what I plugged in to do that day. And then I get my day rolling. My kids have their own alarm clock and theirs goes off at 6:45. At 6:45, I set it for that. They usually don't come out until about 7:15. Sometimes they need a little help from mom. They like to sleep, so it's a little bit harder. But they get up, they know they need to make their beds, get dressed, and go outside and do their chores. They have outside chores. My day, once they are awake and out, is start a load of laundry and get breakfast on the table. Those are what I do while they're doing their outside chores. We all come to the table and eat, and then we do school. Now, school takes up until about 10:30 or 11, depending on if everyone got up on time. If they get up earlier, then it goes quicker for us. After that, we clean up, we have lunch, and then the afternoon is where I plug in whatever projects I'm going to do, whether that be in the garden, whether that be working cattle with Clint. Sometimes that has to happen in the morning, and so we adjust our morning schedule a little bit. So that's what I mean by loose. You want to have some form of a schedule that you follow, that your kids know, that they understand, because when they have a schedule for themselves, that really helps them to not fight you on everything, because they know what to expect. They know what's next. And same for yourself. You know what to expect. You know what's next. And so you don't feel like you're just floundering all day long with all these things to do and you just don't even know where to begin. If you have things plugged in some form of specific order, no times, just specific order, then you know what comes next. And that makes it a lot easier. So having some form of a loose schedule for your days will make a huge benefit and a huge difference in how much you get done in a day. Okay, so tip number 4, and I touched on this on the last tip, was get up before your household. I know that there are people that are not morning people like myself, and this will be a very hard thing to do. Now, you don't need to get up at 5:30 like I do, but you can adjust your schedule for you to get up when it fits for you. But my biggest recommendation is to get up an hour and a half to 2 hours before your household. And by household, I mean kids. So if you are getting up with your children, you are going to always feel behind, no matter what. Whether you're a scheduled person, whether you're not a scheduled person, whether you're a morning person, whether you're not a morning person. If you wake up with your kids, I guarantee you're going to feel behind from the time your feet hit the ground. So my biggest recommendation for you is to wake up before your children and get your day going so that when they wake up, you feel like you are already set and ready to go and you're not feeling behind. Okay, so remember in the beginning when I said I don't do it all of the time? So here is why. I have separated the things that I like to do, the things that need to be done in the way that I want to run my household, into seasons versus staples. And what I mean by that is the staples are the things that are non-negotiable. Those are the things that need to be done regardless of what's going on in your life. For me, things like that are keeping my house up, clean, doing laundry, obviously having laundry done, ironing done, things like that. But some of the other things that may not be staples for you, but they're staples for me, are bread making. I want to make all of our own breads. And so that needs to be a staple within my schedule. Even on a busy week, I want to be able to have fresh homemade bread on the table for my family. And so I make sure that that is something that's entered into my schedule, even on a busy week, and I just may not add other projects in because that is something that's important to me. So all of the tasks that I do are versus seasons versus staples. And so a season can be a week, a season can be for the day, a season can be for months. Whatever season you are in will determine what items go into that category. So for example, for us, there are seasons, that means lower seasons that we are not super, super busy, maybe in the winter time, that I make all of our own snacks. I buy no processed snacks from the store, and I love doing that. But I had to have real talk with myself that there are certain times, there are certain seasons where that's just not possible. And so I will find some healthy alternatives at the store that I can buy and have on hand for when I need them. But when I can, then I will make all of our own snacks homemade. So those are the things that I mean by having things that are staples in your life that will always be something that you fit into your schedule. And then there are things that will be seasonal because you cannot do all of it all of the time. It's just not possible and you will drive yourself nuts. I've done it. So that is something that I had to really work towards, and it's something that I highly encourage you. Write out a list of all the things that you would love to do, write out a list of all the things that are important to you, and then categorize them. Is this something that I should just worry about seasonally, or is this something that I want to happen week after week as a staple in my life? And then you're able to adjust accordingly on how you want the things in your life to go and how your schedule is going to go and how your plan is going to go. All of those things trickle down from that. So if you have not already done this, I highly encourage you to do it. Separate all of your tasks into what is seasonal and what is a staple in your life, and you will see how much you can maximize your time in the things that you get done and not feel so overwhelmed by trying to do all of it. Okay, so there you have it. That is my 5 best tips and how I maximize my time for busy moms. I know that everybody's life is different. Not everybody that watches is a ranch mom. Some may be a homeschool mom, some may not be homeschool moms. I know that it is something that you just overall, moms are busy. And so I hope that these tips were helpful for you. They have been a blessing in my life. They have really helped me to maximize my time and get a lot of the things done that I need to get done in a day and not feel overwhelmed. Because one thing I will encourage you and say, and I had to learn this the hard way, unfortunately, is that You cannot do everything and do it all well. And even though you want to try and even though you want to, you just can't. So if you are doing a ton of things, but you're a grouchy mom or a grouchy wife, then you're probably not doing it successfully and things need to be changed. So for us, I had to really work towards that because I'm a doer. I want to get all these things done and I feel accomplished when I do them all. But who suffers for that? And it's just not worth it to me. And so putting these into place has really helped me to maximize my time, still feel accomplished, but to also be a happy mom and wife. So I hope that these are helpful and see you next time. Take care.